Tired of seeing these viral knockout clips and you decided to finally check out where the chaos is coming from? Don't worry, bro. I got you. In this video, I'm going to break down the basics of the UFC, introduce you to the current champions, hype up some banger events we got coming in 2026, and put you one of the classics. So hopefully, by the end of this experience, I'll turn you from zero UFC knowledge chud into someone who can hang in the comment section without sounding like a complete casual. First off, what's the UFC, you're asking me? The Ultimate Fighting Championship is the top mixed martial arts organization where beasts from boxing, wrestling, Brazilian Jiu-Jitsu, Muay Thai, and more clash in the octagon for our personal entertainment almost every single Saturday. It all happens in 12 weight classes to keep everything fair and square. We have 125 pounders, a little tiny speed demon, slinging punches faster than our brains can even process. 135 pounders, which are still pretty small. Featherweight is at 145 pounds. Lightweight is 155 pounds. Welterweight is 170. Middleweight is 185 pounds. Light heavyweight is 205. And heavyweight monsters that has a limit up to 265 pounds. Now, women's MMA is not as deep as the men's MMA in UFC. Now, the women have weight classes at 125 pounds, 135 pounds, and 115 pounds. Now, fighters cut a gang of weight to hit these limits, but we're going to talk about this a little bit later. Founded back in 1993, it started as a wild, no-rules spectacle with no weight classes. Pure mayhem, basically a circus. Over time, it evolved into a legit regulated sport with divisions, safety rules, and global superstars. Today, it's a massive entertainment empire dropping events worldwide. Now, there are three main ways to win a UFC fight. Everyone's favorite is knockout. Technical knockout also falls under this banner, but a knockout is sending your opponent to a legit different dimension with a clean shot. Or a technical knockout is when they're not defending themselves intelligently enough and the referee has to step in to save them. Next off, we have a submission. One fighter will trap another fighter in a nasty choke or a joint lock, forcing them to tap out to avoid either being choked out unconsciously or breaking a bone. And finally, a decision. If it goes the distance with no finish, judges have to score this fight based on damage, control, and aggression. More on the judging in just a second, but a quick note on fouls that I literally didn't know where else to throw inside of this video, so here it is. There are no eye pokes, like what happened to Tom Aspinall. I'm sorry, buddy. No groin shots, no headbutts, no back of the head strikes, no small joint manipulation. Now, the referee is supposed to warn the fighter first. You do get a warning if you foul somebody. It's called a foul. But after the first warning, the referee is supposed to take a point. That very rarely happens, as you will see going forward. And obviously, we have some fighters who specialize in certain finish categories. Now, we have knockout artists who drop bombs. We have submission threats, hunting takedowns, and we have decision merchants who just stall time. Now, a standard UFC fight is 3 5-minute rounds. Now, that's 15 minutes total, but main events and title fights go 5 5-minute rounds, which is 25 minutes of non-stop action. When the horn blows and the fight's over, if there were no finishes and the fighters make it through to the given amount of time, then we have 3 judges that have to tally up. Judges score fights based on the 10-point must system. The loser of a round would normally get 9 points, while a winner would get 10. Very, very rarely you will see a 10-8 round, which means a complete domination. A 10-10 round was super rare. Super rare. Now, that would mean a draw. And a 10-7 is literally mythical. You will probably never see that ever in your life. There's a few types of decisions that you will see in your time of watching the sport. There's a unanimous decision, which means that all 3 judges scoring the fight will judge it unanimously. There is a split decision, which means that 2 judges will score it for one, and 1 judge will score it for the other. And trust me, you will see some robberies via split decision that will have you screaming that the sport is rigged. And just know I've been there, and I'm probably there every single weekend. Now, you might be thinking to yourself, how do we make sense on who fights for the belt? The rankings, allegedly. Now, the UFC ranks 15 fighters per division based weekly on wins, opponent quality, and activity. Now, the champion will sit above the division, above the number 1 slot. He's not even ranked. But the number 1 contender will often get the next title shot. But just keep in mind, Dana White, the CEO, picks who fights for the belt ultimately based on storylines, availability, star power, or just whatever he's feeling at the time. Speaking of whatever I'm feeling at the time, let's meet our current UFC champions as of December of 2025. I'll break down how these guys got the belt and what's rumored next for them. In heavyweight, 205 pounds with a limit of 265 pounds, we have Tom Aspinall. He's been champion since June 21st of 2025. 0 defenses. He's a British powerhouse with scary speed and knockout power. He inherited the undisputed belt when Jon Jones retired. Yes, that Jon Jones. And by the way, Jon Jones reportedly turned down a $30 million paycheck to unify the belt against Tom Aspinall. Just keep that in mind. Now, Tom's last fight ended in a no contest after Cyril Gane brutally eye-poked Tom Aspinall. Now, Tom is awaiting surgery for his eye, so we're not going to know when we see him next until after he gets the surgery, but when he does return, he will be fighting Cyril Gane in a rematch. In light heavyweight, which is 205 pounds, we have Alex Pereira. He's been champion since October 4th of 2025. He also has 0 defenses. This dude is the Brazilian legend with devastating knockout power. One of the biggest stars we have in the company, and you've definitely seen this dude's clips everywhere on TikTok and Instagram for a good reason. Poatan always delivers fireworks, and he's a must-watch fighter every single time. He reclaimed the belt with a wild round 1 technical knockout over Magomed Ankalaev at UFC 320 after Alex Pereira lost the belt during a unanimous decision against Magomed Ankalaev in 2025. So they already fought twice. I'm looking forward to a trilogy, but Alex has been saying he wants to move up to heavyweight for a long time, so we'll see where that goes. Our middleweight champion at 185 pounds, we have Khamzat Chimaev. He's been champion since October 16th of 2025. He also has 0 defenses. This dude is undefeated. He dethroned Dricus du Plessis, the previous 185-pound champion, via straight domination. It was literally like nothing we have ever seen before, and I have nothing much to say about this guy. What's next for him? Maybe Nasruddin Imavov. Honestly, who knows? It's not really clear at 185 pounds. I'm going to be honest, boys. Now, our 170-pound champion at welterweight is Islam Makhachev. He also has 0 defenses. This dude is a Dagestani legend, Habib's cousin. He moved up from lightweight, 155 pounds, and beat Jack Della Maddalena by unanimous decision at UFC 322 to become the 2-division champion. I personally was so sure Islam Makhachev was going to lose that I bet my hair, and I'm still suffering from the consequences of that. Now, what's next for Islam Makhachev? We have tons of potential. Now, the 3 names I'm about to name are all undefeated. We have Shavkat Rakhmonov, who is undefeated again. Michael Morales, undefeated. Or Islam Makhachev might go back down to 155 pounds and fight the undefeated Ilia Topuria. Speaking of Ilia Topuria, he is our 155-pound champion, but Ilia Topuria had to step away from the sport, dealing with some controversy and personal issues right now. What's next, though, for the division? An interim title fight for Justin Gaethje versus Paddy Pimblett at UFC 324 on January 24th. Now, the interim is just a placeholder belt. It's just there to keep somebody active until the real champion will return, and the holder of the interim belt will fight Ilia Topuria when Ilia decides to return. Our featherweight champion at 145 pounds is Alexander the King Volkanovski. He's been champion since April 12th of 2025. He also has 0 defenses. He's the Aussie GOAT. The Aussie GOAT, the featherweight GOAT, if you ask me, the best to ever do it at 145 pounds. He has reclaimed the belt after losing to Ilia Topuria, and now he has to solidify his legacy against Diego Lopez at UFC 325. And for 135-pound champion at bantamweight, we have Petr Yan. He's been champ since December 6th of 2025. He also has 0 defenses. He's a Russian with razor-sharp boxing. He won the belt after winning a huge upset over Merab Dvalishvili at UFC 323. Merab, just to keep you guys updated, was going through his 4th title defense in a year. That has never been done before. Merab was trying to make history, and he wasn't able to. Now, what's next for Petr Yan? Hopefully, the Merab rematch. In my heart, Merab is still the 135-pound champion. But if Merab doesn't get the shot next, it's going to be the winner of Sean O'Malley versus Song Yadong at UFC 324. So keep that in mind when you're watching that card. Our champion at 125 pounds, our flyweight champion, is Joshua Van. He's been champion since December 6th of 2025. He also has 0 defenses. He's one of the youngest champions we've ever had in the UFC with some heavy, heavy hands. He got the belt from a literal freak accident that happened to Alexandre Pantoja at UFC 323 in December of 2025. And they just handed him the belt. Now what's next for Joshua Van? It's going to be Manuel Kepe. Alexandre Pantoja is coming back to the sport, but he's recovering. So in the meantime, we will be seeing Manuel Kepe, who is coming off of a nasty, lightning-quick knockout against Brandon Royval, fighting off against Joshua Van. Now for the women's champions, at 135 pounds, we have Kayla Harrison. She won the belt on June 7th of 2025. And just look at this woman. She weighs 135 pounds. I just want you to think of that. Look at those shoulders. Look at the biceps. The champion at 125 pounds, boys, is Valentina Shevchenko. That woman is a beautiful dancer. And the champion for the women's division at 115 pounds is Mackenzie Dern. Now, I'm sorry, guys. I really don't pay a lot of attention to women's MMA. Or do I? But if you were paying attention, Valentina is the only active champion right now with some defenses. So that is how fluid the UFC is right now. If you're new, this is perfect timing. Literally almost every single champion is starting off on a clean slate. What do you want to look out for on fight week? Well, the real enemy for most fighters, it's the scale, boys. We already talked about weight classes, but don't get it twisted. These dudes, except for heavyweights, have to cut massive weight to hit their weight classes. Islam Makhachev, the 175-pound champion, used to fight at 155, and when he did, he used to walk around at 185 pounds. Alex Pereira, the 205-pound champion, used to be the 185-pound champion, and who knows how much weight he had to cut to do that. But if a fighter misses weight, and trust me, it happens a lot more than you would think it does, hella drama kicks in. First of all, the opponent that didn't miss weight gets to decide if the fight's still on. If they say yes, it more than likely will turn into a catchweight bout, which means that they will meet somewhere in the middle. But the dude who did miss weight has to forfeit 20 to 30% of his paycheck to the other guy. Plus, if you missed weight, you're usually locked out of those $50,000 post-fight bonuses. So no performance of the night and no fight of the night bonus for you. It doesn't matter how beautiful your highlight reel was. The weigh-ins that we're talking about normally start Friday morning with a super tight 2-hour window for the whole card. It's pure tension, stare downs, there's some tears, there's some yelling. It's always a good event to pay attention to. Now for these big numbered events, these are the premium pay-per-view style cards, even though there's no pay-per-view anymore, but the big premium events, the build up for the whole week of that card is going to be insane. It normally starts off on Thursday with a pre-fight press conference. Most of the main card fighters are on stage, trash talking, throwing things at each other, mean mugging during the face-off, and answering media questions. Now Friday is those official weigh-ins that I was just telling you guys about, plus a ceremonial weigh-in, which is not the same thing. It's just a fake weigh-in where they go out there and take pictures later Friday that night. And then Saturday, obviously, is where these people go outside, meet into the octagon, and then just bang it out. Every card split up to keep the energy rolling all night. There's the main card, the early prelims, and then the regular prelims. Early prelims and regular prelims, those are the same thing. Just an appetizer with some up-and-coming talent and solid matchups just to get you warmed up for the main card. The main card is 5 fights filled with ranked contenders, big names, and it will end off with either a title fight or a super fight. And at those Thursday press conferences I was telling you about, running the whole show, moderating the madness, cutting off rants and dropping some random announcements is none other than the CEO of this whole thing, Dana White, the bald-headed boss who has been doing his thing since 2001. Speaking of Dana, dude is just a hustler, okay? Back in 2001, he played a significant role in purchasing the UFC for $2 million when it was a dying company. Now, it is valued at over $15 billion with a B. An absolute hustler. Talking about hustling, let's talk about fighter pay, okay? UFC fighters are independent contractors, not employees. So they only get paid when they fight. Usually 2 to 4 times a year. Now, 4 times is pushing it. You'll see 3 max, okay? There's no health care if you get injured without an official fight booked. No salary all year round to keep these dudes paid. They only get paid when they step into the octagon. Now, here's a little breakdown of how these dudes actually get paid. They get show money, which is a base guarantee just for making weight and stepping into the cage. Win or lose, you get the spread. Then there's a win bonus, which is extra cash. It often matches the show money that you're given. So let's say they say, hey, E-Rock, you go down there and fight somebody. We give you $10K to show, $10K to win. That's normally how it is going down there into the UFC. But keep in mind, there's performance bonuses, okay? There's $50,000 bonuses announced by Dana White himself after every single event. Usually there's 2 performance bonuses and then 1 fight of the night bonus, and the fight of the night bonus is shared between 2 of the fighters. But then after that payday, boys, taxes take a chunk out of our favorite fighters' paycheck. Plus, they have to pay a percentage to coaches, managers, nutritionists, gyms, and a whole bunch of other things that we don't even know about. Looking ahead into 2026, boys, it's stacked with banger after banger for this Paramount deal. Here are some highlights that I want to tell you guys about for the early schedule. We have UFC 324, January 24th. It's going down in Las Vegas. This is going to feature Justin Gaethje, who's known for going into the octagon and just leaving it all in there, including his brain cells. It's always a spectacle every time we see him. He's going to be fighting Paddy Pimblett, the Scouser, whose last 3 opponents have a 0-13 losing streak combined, okay? But he is coming off of giving Michael Chandler an absolute beating. They're going to be facing off for the lightweight interim belt while Ilia Topuria steps away for the controversy that he has going on. But on the card, it is star-studded, boys. We have stars like Sean O'Malley, Gene Silva, Arnold Allen. The list just goes on. You need to watch UFC 324. We also have UFC 325 literally a week later, February 1st, all the way down under in Sydney, Australia. The King Volkanovski returns home to face off against Diego Lopez again for the 2nd time. Diego Lopez lost to Volkanovski in early 2025, but then came back and redeemed himself with a highlight reel knockout over Gene Silva. Is he the most deserving contender? No. But like I said before, Dana does what he wants. Fan favorites like Dan Hooker, Rafael Fiziev, and Oban Elliott are going to be on this card, so keep an eye out for that. Then we have UFC 326, which is going to be Max Holloway versus Charles Do Bronx Oliveira the 2nd time, March 7th, Las Vegas, Nevada. Max Holloway is going to be fighting Charles Oliveira for the BMF belt with stars like RDR, Carl Brajalio, and my favorite, Paulo Costa, going to be on the card. Okay, now I know I did not bring up what the BMF belt was when I was talking about champions, but it doesn't even matter. It's a gimmick belt. It's the only gimmick belt that is in the UFC. It's just there to be there, so didn't really need an explanation at the time. After all this, I feel like I'm leaving you guys with a good place to start off at, alright? So I'm going to give you guys a few bangers to watch as your homework, okay? Fully recommended by me myself, okay? Yoel Romero versus Paulo Costa is number 1. A must-watch. Absolute war between 2 dudes who do not look like they weigh 185 pounds, not even at all. Then we're going Yuri Prochazka versus Khalil Roundtree. Yuri's my personal favorite fighter of all time. I love that guy. A must-watch if you don't even know who Yuri Prochazka is. Then we have Justin Gaethje versus Tony Ferguson. If you want to see a complete mismatch, a complete beating, make sure you tap into that fight. That fight will probably scar you. And then finally, I'm going to recommend Derek Lewis versus Alexander Volkov. That is probably my favorite heavyweight fight of all time, and I think that's going to hook you hard if you love the sport. Now, I have fallen in love with the sport for the past, I would say, 5 years, and I hope you do the same, boys. So I just wanted to give a quick little outline for the people that are new, coming to the sport from the Paramount deal, and just wanted to help you guys out, give you a little bit of a push and incentive to figure some things out and not feel like a complete casual when you ask some questions in the TikTok comment section. So anyways, boys, I appreciate it if you watched it all the way through here. Please leave a comment, like and subscribe, and I'll catch you guys later. Peace out.